Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I received a question from David. He was asking about how to know which note of a chord is the root. And I think it's a good question, so I'm going to get into it here. And if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to leave them and I'll do my best to get back to you. Now, when you're talking about building chords, what we're really doing is we're stacking notes into thirds, okay? And if you take the notes of the musical alphabet, start on A and then just go up to the next A. When we stack thirds, we're skipping every other letter name. So if I have an A, a third above A is going to be a C, and a third above C is going to be some kind of E, okay? So here's how it works. If you have the letter name notes A, C, and E in a chord, it will be some type of A chord. Now, it could be A flat, A sharp, it could be diminished, augmented, whatever. If you're looking at the sharps and the flats, that's a different thing. But if you have the letter names A, C, and E in a chord, it's gonna be some kind of A chord, 100% of the time. If you have a B, D, F thing happening, if you start on B, go up a third, it's gonna be D, and then F is a third above D, that's some type of B chord. And so every B chord that you can come up with, B flat augmented, will have some kind of B going to some kind of D going to some kind of F, always, okay? So B chords would be B, D, F, C chord would be a C, E, G thing, a D chord would be D, F, A, you're just stacking thirds. An E chord would be E, G, B, an F chord would be F, A, C, a G chord would be G, B, D, okay, and I think I've covered, is that all of them there? I think so. I'm just looking at the letter names of the musical alphabet, and I'm just skipping every other letter name. That's how you stack thirds. So if you have some kind of C chord, you have the letter name C, E, and G, you know that C is going to function as the root, the E is going to function as the third of the chord, and the G is going to function as the fifth of the chord. Always, okay? That's how it works. So let me erase this stuff that I just wrote. And let's look at the notation here, and we can at least figure out what the root of each of these chords will be, okay? The first one here, from low to high, the low note there is an E, the middle note is a B flat, and the top note is a G. So arrange these notes into ascending thirds. If you do that, just look at the letter names. We've got E, B flat, and then G on top. I have to reorder the letter names to come up with E, G, B flat. And that's the only way you can do it. With these specific letter names, it's got to be some kind of E chord. And so the next step is to look at the intervals between the notes. This particular one here is a diminished chord, but don't worry about that. It's some kind of E chord. E is the root of this chord. The next one here, it's an A, C sharp, E from low to high. And again, you've got an ACE thing happening. We're skipping every other letter name. This has to be some kind of A chord. A is going to be the root of the chord, and this happens to be an A major chord. The next one, the third one here, D sharp, B, and then G sharp on top, okay? The only way you could stack these notes into thirds, you have to label the G sharp as the root of the chord, the B would be the third of the chord, and the D sharp would be the fifth of the chord, okay? That's it, okay? It's some kind of G chord, G sharp. It happens to be G sharp minor. And the last one here, the low note is a C, the middle note is a G, and the top note is E flat. Stack the notes into thirds. The only way to do that with these letter names, it's a C, E, G thing happening. C, E, G, got an E flat in there. That's a C minor chord. So for each one, if you just can stack notes into thirds, you'll figure out the root of the chord. And once you do that, then you know at least what it is. It's an A chord or some kind of B flat chord or whatever. To figure out if it's major, minor, augmented, or diminished, that's a different thing. But this is how you figure out the root of the chord. I hope that makes sense. Again, leave me a comment if you'd like, and I'll see you next time.